Beneath the surface of our Earth lies the enigmatic black sun that controls the subterranean phenomena and the polar lights. Now, the black sun, this entity, is responsible for the creation of the sun and the moon, the planets, the stars, and everything else that we see in the sky. Now, the electromagnetic dynamics of the black sun's movement is actually what's causing it to oscillate in a helical or coil-like motion beneath the Earth that is generating the electromagnetic field with an omnidirectional impulse. So the black sun's excitation angles is creating the dielectric atmospheric conditions, meaning double electric, which is the sun and moon's electric polarity within the celestial mechanics. And at the apex of our toroidal field, the electromagnetic field of the black sun reflects and it creates the stars, the sun and the moon, which are reflections of the Earth's profound energy centers. Okay, so the black sun would be like the spinal cord, the aurora borealis, polar lights would be your cerebral spinal fluid flowing up, and then the plane of Earth would actually be your heart chakra, your cardiovascular, because the Earth is the core, the cardio, the core of the Earth, of it all. Okay, you have the macrocosmic constellations of the 26,000 year ecliptic cycle, and then you have the micro constellations of the zodiac, which is just the annual yearly cycle. This electromagnetic field has a variability that plays a significant role in the behavior of the celestial phenomena that we see in the sky. So at the point where Polaris is observed, at the top of our toroidal field, there is a reverse directional refraction of the cosmic energy that is originating and emanating from the black sun. And this cosmic refraction causes a bifurcation of the celestial light energy to split into positive energy, which creates the sun, and the negative energy, which forms the moon, the cathode and the anode. Now, this interaction gives rise to the phases of the moon.
So now, just about every single one of us was indoctrinated and spoon-fed the explanation that the moon is reflecting the light of the sun without any other options. So you have to take a leap of faith, just like when we were younger and we just blindly accepted what we were told. So you have to choose. Now that you have reasonable information at your disposal and you have mature, self-reflecting, critical decision-making ability. Geocentrically, the interaction between solar and lunar refraction is the determining factor for the phases of the moon. So the phi symbol is going to be representing the black sun, which correlates to certain angles of incidence at various times throughout the lunar month. The angle of incidence has different stages of variability, governing the geometric interplay of the sun's conical refraction against the moon's conical refraction, leading to the cyclical lunar phases that we see. When the black sun's angle of incidence beneath the Earth's plane is significantly large, the moon and the sun appear close in proximity. This alignment occurs when both celestial bodies share the same constellation, resulting in the new moon phase. So at this juncture point, the solar conical refraction completely neutralizes the refraction of the moon, as depicted in diagram A. The position and the confluence of these bodies at the new moon phase produces a minimum amount of luminosity. As the angle of incidence gradually decreases, the moon progresses into its first quarter or half moon phase. And so in this phase, the sun's conical refraction obscures half of the moon's illumination, creating a distinct dichotomy between the illuminated and the shadowed sections. The obscuration effect varies based on your geographical location, depending on if you are either north of the tropical gap or if you are south of the tropical gap. The obscuration effect gradually appears from the left side of the moon if you are north of the tropical gap, aka if you're in the northern hemisphere. And conversely, the obscuration effect of the moon appears from the right side if you are south of the tropical gap, aka if you're in the southern hemisphere. So the horns of the moon in the half and crescent phases are always pointing away from the sun, and it's always going to be mirrored reversal depending on your location, whether you are north or south of the tropical gap. So the full moon phase is achieved when the angle of incidence reaches its minimum value. During the full moon phases, the refraction paths of the sun and the moon are diametrically opposite and harmonious, thereby excusing any mutual interference. This non-overlapping refraction results in the complete illumination of the moon's surface, and we can see her shining in all of her mysterious glory. And finally, when the angle of incidence increases again, the moon enters the third quarter or last quarter half-moon phase. And in this situation, the sun's conical refraction conceals the opposite half of the moon's illumination compared to the first quarter. So the same celestial parameters apply. The visibility pattern changes depending on the observer's location. The right half of the moon is hidden when you are viewing from a location that is north of the tropical gap, or if you are north of the equator line. And the left half of the moon is hidden when observed from a location that is south of the equator line or south of the tropical gap. This occurs when the phase's axis remains perpendicular to the horizon. When the black sun has its largest maximum angle of incidence, the sun and the moon are closer together. And conversely, vice versa, when the black sun has its shortest or minimum amount of angle incidence, the sun and the moon begin to separate and they are rotating around the earth in harmony. The phases of the moon, from new moon to full moon, and the subsequent in-between quarter phases can be understood through the lens of conical refraction principles. The variations in the angle of incidence by the black sun provide an accurate model explaining the lunar illumination patterns as observed from different points on Earth's surface, geocentrically.
So the constellational relationship between the sun and the moon directly influences these phases. This is important. Pay attention. Okay? When the conical refraction that is creating the sun aligns with that of the conical refraction that creates the moon, the sun's refraction neutralizes the moon, resulting in a new moon. The dynamic nature of these refractions causes the moon's phases to vary on a daily basis. So conversely, when the refractions are opposite, there is no neutralization. And then we have a full moon because we can see the full moon shining in all her mysterious glory. And then eventually, as the sun's refraction comes close and it starts catching back up to the moon again, the remaining phases of the moon that are culminating in the new moon are observed, and we can't see the moon anymore. Now, I want to go back and review this part again because I think there was a lot of people who weren't really understanding it at first. So let's go back and review conical refraction again. Okay, so conical refraction is a phenomena where light rays that are passing through a certain types of crystalline material like mediums, they are split into cone-shaped paths. Therefore, the unique behavior of this phenomenological activity of conical refraction is a phenomena where light rays can help us understand the geocentric celestial phenomena when applied to the models of light and optics when we are talking about the curved dome firmament. Okay, so in this model, we consider a point of source of light, which is the black sun, which is located in the center, indicated by P, all right? That's the point source of light that undergoes the different types of refractions, creating the distinct images of the sun and the moon. Okay, so let's break it down for the ones who didn't get it first. So we have two scenarios here. We have the yellow and the orange, okay? We have the P to SA refraction and the P to MA refraction. That's the sun and moon in the A scenario. And then down below, you have the P to SB and MB. That's the sun and moon in the B scenario. In scenario one, that's the P to SA refraction and the P to MA refraction. The refraction from point P through the medium of SA creates an image of the sun, and we will call that sun A. And the refraction from point P through the medium of MA creates an image of the moon, and we will call that moon A. So in the first scenario, we observe that the refractions that are creating sun A and moon A are positioned opposite of each other. This opposition means that the sun A is fully illuminating moon A, resulting in a full moon. A full moon occurs when the sun and the moon are at opposite sides of the earth as they're circulating around, allowing the entire face of the moon to be illuminating and visible for us. And then we have the second scenario, which is P to SB refraction and P to MB refraction. The refraction from point P through medium SB creates another image of the sun, which we will call sun B. The refraction from point P through medium MB creates another image of the moon, which we will call moon B. Okay, so in the second scenario, the refraction that causes sun B moves in front of the refraction that creates moon B. So when sun B partially hides or blocks moon B, we see only half of the moon illuminated. This situation leads to a half moon, also known as a first or last quarter moon. And so in this phase, the sun and the moon form a right angle with the earth, resulting in half of the moon's visible surface being illuminated. Now, in conclusion, by understanding the phenomena of conical refractions and how they create images of the sun and the moon, we can gain insight into the different phases of the moon. The alignment and the interaction of these refractions determine whether we observe a full moon, a half moon, or any of the other lunar phases. To help visualize these concepts, we use these diagrams and animations showing us the position of the sun and the moon and the earth, as well as how the conical refractions align in each case. And this will make it easier to grasp how the light interactions result in the different lunar phases that we see on Earth. So I encourage you guys to go out and observe the moon regularly and to go and document its phases, because understanding these natural phenomena not only enhances our knowledge of the cosmos, but it also connects us directly and more deeply with the rhythms of the universe, because it is one song, the universe, a verse that's unified. The geocentric celestial mechanics and the electromagnetic dynamics involving the black sun, the sun and the moon, and the planets and the stars within our beautiful, divine, toroidal model of reality.